this year, however. Well, the meeting record I don't think is under threat. Tratojvilova ran 48.86 here back in 1982. Only one of the four ladies under 50 seconds this year is in this race. But the first three from Paris last Saturday are here. Davita goes in 1, Ellis 2, Wembley in 3. Watch Aid Nasser of Bahrain in 4. She's had a fabulous season. Consistent wins up to mid-season. McPherson, Svesiositic, Nielsen and Beard complete the lineup. Well, Aid Nasser in lane 4 is about the smallest in the race, but she has this reputation for judging her races to perfection. She's gone up pretty quickly. Already closing up on McPherson there in the blue. There's Aid Nasser. Lovely, smooth run, long stride. She really does hits the track with those feet of hers. Beautifully fluid style. She's pulling away from Wembley, their third from right. Centre of picture. But Aid Nasser, is she back to her best? She's had fabulous wins in Shanghai, Rome, Rabat, Lausanne, and a smaller meeting in Hungary in recent months. But here she comes into the straight with a good lead over the rest of this field now. She's back to her best. Good running in lane 3 from Shakima Wembley to hold on to second place at the moment. And Davita too in lane 1 fighting for a place in the top 3. But look at that winning margin from Aid Nasser. 50.24. She wins by 6 or 7 metres, holds her form so wonderfully well down the home straight. That is her USP. Boy, oh boy. Well, close to 50 seconds when she hasn't raced for something like 6 weeks. Very, very useful indeed. And she will build on that, I'm sure, over the next few weeks, Steve, as the World Championships in Doha. Now 4 weeks away, get closer and closer. She wins by almost a second from Wembley.
Yes, very impressive, as she has been all season. She hasn't missed too much at all.
Well, there it is, 50.24 ahead of Wembley and Davita. Good run that from the Dutch athlete.
Kinyamal, Rotich, and the Americans, Brazier, Murphy, McBride of Canada. Men's 800. So they've been asked for a pretty good pace here, and Haroun is not bad at all. I think he's a very good pacemaker, actually. 49 flat, it is Zurich. It's a little bit breezy down there, but he's going to just go and do the job he was asked for. The question is, who tucks in behind him? And they're from the same training camp, the two of them. So Amos letting his training partner take them through that a pretty swift first 200. Look how far back some of the others are. Really left behind Brazier and Murphy. This is very quick at the moment. Through 300, Tim, in about 36 and a half.
It's superbly fast, isn't it? And reduced to single file, indeed, into 2 packs. Look at Murphy, left a picture. He's way off the pace, 15 metres back. They go through 400. 48.23, Steve. It's lightning fast. One of the quickest ever 400-metre splits. I love to see Amos race this way. He really lays it on the line.
Amos chasing, Career left at the moment, but is closing up on Amos. Has Amos overcooked this? Kinyamal and Rotich chasing, then McBride, then a big gap to Brazier and Murphy and Tuka. This isn't an 800-metre race, they're all over the track. There's so many gaps out there. Look at Amos, though, 74.4 through 600. This is quick, it's very fast, and he's not slowing at the moment. Others are treading water behind him. Amos, can he last the last 100 metres? This has got to be hurt. Career is treading water. Brazier coming from way back. Amos is going backwards now. Look at his head, and look at Brazier. Brazier's going to win this from the way back in the field. Incredible running. McBride might have even got second. Well, that's one way not to run an 800 metres. It was brave, but you might also say it was silly, because he was heading for a world record had he been able to maintain the pace. But it was Brazier with a perfectly judged performance, a new personal best. And that, for Donovan Brazier, signals a massive I hesitate to say I'm a gold medal contender, but you have to say that, Tim, after a performance like that. He's beaten the best around here, and he did it the right way. He judged it perfectly. He said in the past, I've been impetuous in the past, I haven't been smart about my racing, but goodness me, was he smart there. And that takes a lot to sit off it that much.
Well, Donovan Brazier came into this race with a 1:43 best for this year, indeed close to his lifetime best. But he judged that to perfection. You're dead right, Steve. And even he at 400 metres must have thought, what on earth are they playing at? He probably went through in 49.5, but it was way, way back. And even that was super fast. So no wonder it looked like he was flying down the home straight. In actual fact, the others were all running in treacle. And gosh, Amos here looked like he was running in melted tar.
That was only a tenth of a second off Johnny Gray's US record, which has stood for so long. And then surely, look how relaxed he is coming down the home straight. That, to me, was a very mature performance. As I said, it does take a lot to trust yourself, Tim, to sit that far back. In an 800-metre race, at 2:50 to go, Brazier must have been 30 metres, at least, behind the leader. A set of fast times behind him, but it was the winner. That's the big story. Brazier, Amos will look at that and say, well, I had a go, and he was brave to go out that quick.
Go here. So just over 7.5 laps of the track. Still only 5 women in history have broken 9 minutes, which makes that world record by Beatrice Chepkoech all the more remarkable. 8:44. 49 women in the world, by the way, this year have got the World Championship standard 9:40. It's a pretty soft standard, that. But only 11 women have broken 9:20 this season. The Kenyans, of course, on the men's side, dominate steeplechasing, like to think it's their property, and that's becoming the case in the women's steeplechasing, with 8 Kenyans in the world top 20 this year. Well, the pacemaker, Twigong, is tasked with going out in 2:53 here, which seems almost suicidal. It's 8:39 pace, very, very quick indeed, but slotting right into her slipstream as this field is spread-eagled before they've run even one lap is Beatrice Chepkoech, the world record holder. And you can see there Steve Coburn in 3rd place, trying desperately to cling on, but the gap developing already. They've gone through one lap now.
Yeah, you can see Emma Coburn's dilemma here. It's I know I want to. The competitive instinct in me says I want to go with Chepkoech and see if I can go with her. But as you've just said, 8:40 pace. I know that that sounds silly. It seems silly to go through the first 1,000 meters that quick. So the danger for her is that she's caught in this kind of no man's land. Geruto's tagged onto her, so maybe the two of them can work together. And if Chepkoech can't stay with the pace, can't work the pace, get a group of 3 together. But it's brave from Coburn, brave from Chepkoech, but of course we've seen her do this on so many times, so many occasions, with those 3 already with a good 10-meter gap on the rest of the field.
Well, Geruto, of course, Noro Geruto famously beat Chepkoech in Oslo at the Diamond League meeting a few weeks back. So Chepkoech in 2nd place has won 5 of her 6 steeplechases this year, but she knows full well that she can be vulnerable in a sprint finish. So she wants to clear out, I think, and get away from Geruto. And of course, Coburn, as we saw also clearly in that World Championship in London 2 years back, can sprint pretty well at the finish too. Coburn hasn't raced in a couple of weeks, but it was a 1,500 personal best of 4:04 in Memphis back on the 10th of August was her last race. So she's been working on her speed. She won her 8th US title back at the end of July, so she's had a good solid summer as Emma Coburn, even if she hasn't raced a great deal. And now Chepkoech all on her own, Steve. And Twigong there, the pacemaker, has been left in her wake with Coburn just Geruto almost using her as a pacemaker now. Twigong moves aside.
Yeah, it's a bit embarrassing when the person you meant to be pacing for gets to 2 laps and that's enough, thank you very much, and moves out. 2:51 through the first kilometre. I don't know why she did that, because she wanted 2:53. 2:51, Tim, sorry. 2:51 through the first kilometre. If you're running a flat 3,000, that's just about world class. If you run up sub 8:40, 8:35 in the flat 3,000, you'd be very happy indeed. So Emma Coburn must be thinking, well, if she knew, Emma Coburn herself went through in about 2:53.5, which for her is amazing. But look at this, Chepkoech is still running away. What is going to happen over the last 2-3 laps? Either something remarkable, Tim, or she's going to fall back to the rest of the field.
Well, shades of Amos in the 800 metres who went out suicidally fast just 5 or 10 minutes ago and ended up getting caught by Donovan Brazier. Amos, by the way, still ran under 1:43. But Chepkoech here, has she overcooked it? A world record 8:44. If she can put together a solid middle kilometre here, is under severe threat. I mean, that's a 25-metre lead over Geruto, who won in Oslo, beating her, and the world champion Emma Coburn, who's hoping to break 9 minutes for the first time. She's come so close. I was looking at Emma Coburn's record earlier. She's 9 times she's run under 9:10, a long way under 9:10, and several times pretty close to 9 minutes. She's had 1 or 2 falls in this season and last season, which have certainly affected her chances of breaking 9 minutes. But surely tonight, if she gets this right, there's an opportunity. Conditions absolutely perfect here in the Letzigrund. It's probably around 24 degrees centigrade, something like that. And Chepkoech here looking calm as she gets to around the halfway point. But Steve, that gap is still growing. It's astonishing.
Kieng has now joined on to Coburn and Geruto and is going quicker than them. You know, Coburn might rue that fast first 2 laps, 2.5 laps. Chepkoech, as you were saying, Tim, managing to keep the pace going, although she has dropped a little bit, understandably, but still heading for something fast. 6 times she's run under 9 minutes. Coburn trying to rally, will hope that she can pick up again, keep that little group together if she's to have any chance of getting close to 9 minutes. Has got to stay with those 2 right there. But Kieng started small, smartly, and is now looking the stronger of that group.
Well, that gap is closing. Chepkoech goes through with 3 laps to run, and there's no doubt about it. Kieng leading the chase now. She's only joined the duo in second and third, Geruto and Coburn, over the last 300 metres or so. But she's now leading the chase, maybe the freshest of the top 4. Chepkoech still has probably 15 metres going into the back straight, but with over 2.5 laps to run, and she looked really, really uncomfortable there. She's such long legs, but there was a lot of air there, a lot of time in the air over that barrier, and she's feeling this. She does have this knack of looking relaxed. We know she's got this enormous strength, but as she comes towards 2 kilometres now, that first kilometre, 2:51.89, that one, 3:05.71.
Oh.
I mean, it's 14 seconds slower.
Faller there, Tim, and I think I'm just trying to look to see who it was. It might have been Chespol. I'll just have a little, try and have another look in a second. But yes, your point well made. Kieng is running down Chepkoech. Now, can she rally? Well, that's a question. We said it was either going to be something remarkable or she's going to get eaten up by the field. It might be something in between, because we're certainly not in anything remarkable here. Just a silly first 1,000 metres when she didn't need to go that fast. We'll try and clear up what's happening behind, but Emma Coburn suffering, Kieng and Geruto trying to just get her within range. 2 laps to go, 15 metres.
So Chepkoech then goes into the back straight for the penultimate time. Her lead has stayed at about 15 metres for this last 400, though she has been closed down by Kieng in second place, Geruto and Coburn in third and fourth. Still no signs, outward signs of stress there on the features of Beatrice Chepkoech, the Rio Olympic 4th placer, and in fact, is that gap growing? Maybe Kieng putting too much effort in that middle kilometre to close up on the world record holder. Emma Coburn still hanging in there in 4th place to right of picture behind Geruto. Remember, Nora Geruto, the 23-year-old, was only 5th in Birmingham. So the season's best when she won at Oslo, beating Chepkoech. Has enormous strength. She ran a fast road 10 kilometres in the middle of the summer in the USA. But Geruto back in 4th place at the moment as these 3 gather together with 500 to run. And Chepkoech, coming towards the bell, has extended that lead. Her strength is remarkable. She's doubled her lead over the last 300 metres. It's now 30 metres.
Krauser is running down the 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th athletes as well. People very tired, almost climbing over the barriers, but you're absolutely right, Tim. Chepkoech went out hard, kind of sucked them in with that slow 2nd kilometre, but has found enough to keep plenty of distance between herself and the others. But there is still a great chase on for the minor places.
Chepkoech then with 250 to run, surely has the race won. 30 metres her lead as Kieng in 2nd place and Geruto cut loose with their sprint. Emma Coburn struggling, the world champion in 4th place, and she's being hunted down as well as Chepkoech comes to the water jump for the final time. A little zigzag there, almost like a chicane to get her stride right for the barrier. She clears it 20-25 metres ahead of Kieng, who almost stumbles out of the water. But she still looks astonishingly relaxed and calm, considering she put herself under enormous pressure. Was clearly going for the world record here tonight, but absolutely misjudged it with a suicidal first kilometre. Solid second kilometre, strong enough final kilometre to stay clear, and wins here in Zurich. 3:04 that final kilometre. So her last 2 kilometres, 3:05 and 3:04 after a 2:51. That is the story in a nutshell. Crazy, crazy fast early pace from Beatrice Chepkoech. She does indeed win, but a world record opportunity has gone begging here tonight, which clearly was her goal. The rest of them finishing absolutely exhausted after a strange steeplechase here in the Letzigrund. Chepkoech winning in 9:01, Kieng 9:03, Geruto 9:05, and Coburn, well, boy, did she suffer, 6th in 9:10.
Yeah, she got passed by Krause with a new German record, under 9:10 for the German, who judged it perfectly, well under 9:10. 9:7.51 for Krause. Coburn paid for trying to make it difficult for herself, but of course, if you try and fly with the Eagles, you know what happens sometimes. And for Emma Coburn, maybe a lesson learned there. But Chepkoech is strong enough to cope with. There was, I think it was it was Yavi who went down really heavily. Sadly for her, Chespol didn't perform very well either. But Chepkoech, quite impressive how she rallied over the last 2 laps to come back. In the end, the winning time, probably not that spectacular by her standards, but she wins the Diamond League final.
Well, she has such enormous strength too. She's got a great 5,000 metre personal best, very quick over 3,000, and that may be key. Her strength over 5,000, her flat racing ability carried her through there. She still doesn't look particularly stressed, even seconds after crossing the line. Winning in 9:01.71, Beatrice Chepkoech from Kieng, Geruto and Jetkamai. Kenyan 1-2-3-4, ahead of that German record from Krause.
Well, the lineup we've seen all season. Hop, that's for Kambunji. Slight breeze in their face in the home straight. Asher Smith quickly away. So is Miller Weebo already up on Kambunji. Elaine Thompson with some work to do. It's Dina Asher Smith and Okagbare and Miller Weebo as they come into the home straight. Not much to choose between them. Dina Asher Smith with half a metre over Miller Weebo. And the 400-metre runner starting to stretch away already. And Shawnee Miller Weebo is moving away from this great field. Shawnee Miller Weebo 21.74. Asher Smith in second. Well, there are a few people who have run faster, probably 10 or 11. I'll work out exactly on the world all-time list where that sits for Miller Weebo. But a stunning run, and she won't run this race in the World Championships. Dina Asher Smith will, so she'll be delighted with the season best in second and beating the Olympic champion Thompson. But it was only ever between those two, Tim. Round the bend, we expect Asher Smith always to have a bit of advantage, but how good is Miller Weebo in those last 50 metres? Of course, she's got 400-metre strength, but that was startling.
Steve, do you remember Juan Torina against Walhuter? And they used to say a good big man will always beat a good small man. And of course, Miller Weebo towers over Asher Smith. The Bahamian's long legs really unfolding with about 80 metres to go. Dina led again around the bend. She starts fabulously. She really does. She runs the best 120, 130 of all of them. But it's just that Miller Weebo has that 400-metre runner's strength. It's like Marie-José Perret when she took her Olympic double at 400 and 200. In the last 50, it becomes a 400-metre runner's race. And look at the way she streaks away there to win very comfortably indeed. And Dina in second place, equally isolated. You're right, it's a fabulous run for Dina, just outside 22 seconds to defeat the Olympic champion. But, gosh, Miller Weebo, absent from this event in Doha. That doesn't feel good.
Well, that ranks her 11th on the all-time list, which is a fantastic achievement. And many of those races were from a good few years ago, many of those times from a good few years ago. People like Griffith Joyner, Marion Jones. Skippers, of course, more recently, Otti and Elaine Thompson in there, but she's up there with the best 200-meter runners ever. She already was that good. She's just got a bit better. Shawnee Miller-Weeble. I wonder how quick can she go over 400 meters by the time we get to Doha. And that's frightening, isn't it? To take that 200-meter speed into a 400-meter event.
Against Sifan Hassan of the Netherlands. She's only run 3 1500s this year, Hassan. We know she's fabulously strong. She's mixed up her racing this year. She ran a 10,000 meters back in early May in the USA in just outside 31 minutes. But Chanel Price, the pacemaker, who's a very good 800-meter runner herself, a 1:59 800-meter runner, has been asked to go out here in 62 seconds for the first 400, and then slower marginally to 2:05 for 800 meters, which sets it up, Steve, for something a long way under 4 minutes. And just as was the case in the steeplechase with Debu Stafford there back in, what, 4th place, it's very quick early on.
Well, they just got to be sensible. Dibaba wants a fast pace. Hassan knows that. She always starts a little slow the first 200, but it's good to see Hassan get involved. Klosterhalfen in the form of her life. Sigai won't be too far away. And then the others will be hoping they can get dragged round. No Laura Muir, of course, a Diamond League champion from last year. Injury keeping her away as she tries to get ready for Doha. So sub 3:55 perhaps. That's what Dibaba's looking for, I think, Tim. And 61.6 for the pacemaker. That's pretty perfect. Dibaba herself right on 62.
Yeah, Chanel Price, very reliable, very experienced. She will try to go to 800 meters. Hassan, they were slotted in front of Klosterhalfen, who herself has been in fabulous form with that 8:20 3,000 second at Prefontaine behind Hassan, and then she won the German 5,000 meters title a couple of weeks back, a solo 14:26. Her strength is not in doubt. She won the Birmingham Mile a couple of weeks ago, the Diamond League in Birmingham, in 4:21. So, Chanel Price from Dibaba. And then Segai has slotted in there into 3rd place. Segai, Gurav Segai, the World Indoor Championship bronze medalist 3 years back. She's fast and strong. She ran an 800 personal best in Paris, going under 2 minutes, as Chanel Price eases to one side. 700 meters, enough for her. Now, will Dibaba here push on this 3rd lap? Because she must fear, surely, the finish of 2 or 3 of those behind her. That first lap, Steve, 61.6 you said was perfect. This one, 66.
And this is the crucial part of the race. Dibaba is slowing down. Look, she's not interested in going quick. They're almost stepping over her, falling over her. Sigai looking around because suddenly the whole field is bunched up. Interesting tactics for Dibaba. We don't even know, Tim, if she's going to run the 1500 at the World Championships or not. So maybe this is a tryout. Maybe this is a bit of a test for, right, I'm not just going to go flat out. I'm going to see if over the last 400-500 meters I can run away from Klosterhalfen and Hassan, who may well be in the 5,000 meters. But look at Jenny Simpson moving closer. Sigai's in there as well. Debu Stafford, they can all finish quick.
13 athletes then in the group. It's bunched dramatically over the last 300 meters. They approach the bell. Dibaba leads from Segai. Klosterhalfen in 3rd. Hassan in 4th. Debu Stafford in 5th. They go through in almost exactly 3 minutes there. Now it opens up again. Dibaba seemingly toying with this field, but will she win here in Zurich 2019? The acceleration of this last 100 meters has been vicious. Jenny Simpson struggling to go with it. She's lost 5, 6, 7 meters on this pack as Dibaba now tests their raw speed. And look at Hassan. Glides up onto the shoulder of Dibaba, eases past her, leads through 200 meters to run. It's Hassan, Dibaba, Klosterhalfen. Fabulous running here from Debu Stafford, who is looking strong in 4th place. Segai is spent back in 5th place. The field streaming past her as Hassan eases away from Dibaba, who looks so mortal here. That first lap was such a waste, 61.6, followed by a 66. Hassan has cashed in here and destroyed this field over the last 400. Look at that time, 3:57.08. 57.7 the second lap, the final lap. Klosterhalfen a brilliant 2nd. Debu Stafford 3rd, taking some big scalps. What a strange 1,500 meters here in Zurich 2019. And once again, Dibaba and the request for these very fast times, Steve, disrupting what we expect as a normal 1,500. That's not a bad thing.
No, Tim, she's limping. I think the answer to that is she was limping all the way around that last lap. She's injured. So that's why we haven't... we're now getting some answers. The reason we haven't seen Dibaba for a while, she's obviously been carrying a problem. Come here to test it out. She's in trouble now. And Dibaba was limping down. There she is, walking away. Now, whether it's a really bad recurrence of an injury we don't know about, don't know. But that wasn't Dibaba. And certainly the last 100 metres, she was running on one leg. Doesn't matter to Hassan. She attacked hard. Smart race. Klosterhalfen as well. The two of them, of course, and as you said, so used to training with each other these days. National record for the Canadian. She's had a wonderful year. But look at Dibaba coming in here. She's not running properly at all. And then when she crosses the line, well, you didn't see it on that replay. So question marks remain over Dibaba. Hassan, has she chosen the right event for the World Championship? She's going in the 5,000 metres. There's a little bit of pushing and shoving, nothing too silly there. It's because this is where Dibaba had slowed so much. Maybe, Tim, first lap 6.2, then she felt something. Slowed right down, I don't know. Maybe tried to go again, and then got into trouble when she stretched again.
I don't know, Steve. We so often see Dibaba toying with fields like this, running strange laps. I don't think we should take anything away from that fabulous win from Hassan. I suspect she'd have given Dibaba, injured or not, a fabulous race tonight. 57 last lap for a 3:57 winning time. That is special. Laura Muir capable of something like that prior to her injury over these recent weeks. But Klosterhalfen taking second place there in 3:59, a season's best for her. Debu Stafford, a Canadian national record, another one. 3:59.59 in third place. Absolutely fabulous. And for those who sat back off that very fast early pace, again, it's worked out pretty well. Hints of brazier in the 800 metres there for several of the athletes who have run quick times in that women's 1500.
Holder, the Olympic champion, against Sydney McLaughlin and Ashley Spencer. So this crowd are very knowledgeable, and they know they could see something really special here, depending on, I guess, conditions and how McLaughlin feels here. Mohammed and McLaughlin feel here. So Mohammed has started pretty quickly, just settling down now. Spencer realizes the world record holder has gone up very fast indeed. McLaughlin's gone quick to try and go with her. And Mohammed really has been attacking the first 300 in her races, but then getting stronger as they go away. But it's McLaughlin who's leading. But look at Sprunger. Sprunger has gone out incredibly fast. Surely she's going to pay for that as McLaughlin and Mohammed come together. It's McLaughlin rising first into the home straight. Shamir Little getting amongst it here. But it's McLaughlin, the youngster, moving away from Mohammed. This could be a big shock here. And she continues to go away off the last barrier. It's the 20-year-old Sydney McLaughlin looking at the clock, 52.86. Little took second from Mohammed. Well, there's the first big shock of the night. Not because this woman isn't superbly talented, hasn't got a massive future ahead of her, and will only get quicker, and who knows, herself one day may run the world record. But look at the shock on her face. She knew that Mohammed is in the shape of her life, but for whatever reason tonight, Dalilah Mohammed, she started quickly, Tim, seemed to slow down the back straight, and then trying to get going again. But by that time, McLaughlin had the momentum and was going away.
Well, it was very strange the way Mohammed ran. She blasted the first 100, settled down, I think over-settled through the second 100. McLaughlin was accelerating at that point, eased past her going into the second bend, and then was never headed, and had that advantage being drawn on the lane inside her. Lane 3, still a good draw. Great finishing here from Shamir Little. We mustn't discount her. She's consistent. She's running so well, really fast in Lausanne earlier on in the summer with a big win. But she defeats the world record holder here, the US champion, Mohammed. Shunted back in
pictures, but there you go. 52.85, a season's best for McLaughlin. What a good time to do it in the Diamond League final. And Little with an excellent run in second place.
Ahead of Rogers, who himself is 34. Everybody else quite some way under 30. Gatlin in 3, then Lyles in 4, Simbine 5, Zarnell Hughes, the European champion, in 6, Wilson 7, Rogers 8, G in 9. But Gatlin in 3, Lyles in 4. Great start from Gatlin, snatches half a metre off Lyles, who's coming through now. Lyles working hard to get back to Gatlin, but is he going to get there? Yes, he is. That strength brings him through. Great running on the near side too from Gilles to take second place, 9.98. Well, there was a moment there where Lyles closed on Gatlin after about 50. Then Gatlin pulled away again. I thought it was going to stay clear. And then Lyles' 200-metre strength kicked in at around 75. And he eased past the world champion and took the scalp, and an important scalp too, Steve. And I just cannot see him being challenged by anybody over 200 in Doha. What a shame he's chosen not to double up in Qatar. Brilliant running there from the Chinese, Xi Zhenye, who is a sub-10 second man. We mustn't forget that. Ran 10.01 earlier on this year, 10.04 for second place there. Good running from Blake, 10.07. And Gatlin easing back to fourth place, 10.08.
Careful. his socks tonight, an homage to, I think, Kill Bill movies. He's a fan of martial art movies, isn't he? But the win for him tonight, the most important thing. And even the time, less important. As you said, Tim, he's not running the two of them. I'm trying to work this race out here, because Gatlin, to me, until 70 metres, kind of looked like he had it. And then I'm not sure the Lyles just maintained and Gatlin came back to the field. That's what it looked like, really, because you'd expect Lyles to be ahead of the rest of the people. Just watch here, good start. Lyles, you'd think, OK, he's going to come on, but he's not making many inroads here. And then all of a sudden, Gatlin runs out of gas. And Lyles comes through, Shear comes through, everyone just kind of maintains through. Gatlin almost gets run down by 3 or 4 others. But it's the 200, we know he's going to be so good. A 9.98 isn't startling by the standards of these guys. It is a very, very slight headwind, not too much at all, worth a couple of hundreds or a few hundreds. But, what a win for him. If you go to a championships and you know, I'm not in my main event, I know I'm good, but actually I can win in the shorter distance as well. A little like Miller Weibo, same sort of thing. He's going to carry this into the 200 metres in a way which will frighten everybody else, undoubtedly. But good win. Question marks for Gatlin, I guess. Not quite sure what happened there. He just didn't finish the race in the way in which he has been in earlier races this season.
No, you're dead right. I mean, Lyles, with that 19.50 in Lausanne, can probably go quicker. His 100-metre form is holding really well. Don't let's forget that he beat Coleman in Shanghai right at the beginning of the summer. He's taking all the scalps at 100, his second event, and he so enjoys himself. Last week I started to ask him if he might think about running a 400, and he screamed no before I finished the question, because he holds that world indoor best for 300 metres, and it is his strength, just like Miller Weibo, as he pointed out, in the latter stages, that is so critical.
World indoor silver medalist. He's still only 19. Hard to believe, isn't it? Seems to have been around ages. Kujelcha himself, only 22. 12.5 laps of the track. And they haven't asked for anything too silly, which I think is good. Not all of these men here will contest the 5,000 metres at the World Championships by any stretch of the imagination. But for tonight, it's the Diamond League trophy that counts. And a bit of pride and a bit of confidence building, certainly. So they'll settle down. Ryan Gregson, not often you see him, the Australian, doing a bit of pacemaking. 1,500-metre specialist, of course. Let's see how he gets on the field, already nicely strung out. And, well, I think, if they can, Tim, if they can keep it within 13-minute range, and then maybe something good over the last couple of 1,000 metres, maybe the last 1,000 metres, then we could see something fast. But how many cat and mouse races have we seen this year and in other years?
Well, exactly right, but the pace, as you mentioned correctly, Steve, has been requested as is a sensible one. 2:35 for the first kilometre, 2:55 tempo. It's quick, but not insanely fast. And it's quick enough to reduce it single file. That is a perfect echelon, isn't it, of runners. They're stretched out behind Gregson. But 6 men in this field have broken 13 minutes. I'm sure that is the target here tonight. I'll be very interested to see how Andy Butchart goes here, the Briton back in about 7th place, who reckons he's in sub-13-minute shape, I understand. Ben True there in about 6th place in the light blue, the American. I had a chat with him at lunchtime. He said he's spent 6 weeks injured middle of the summer, so he doesn't think he's in wonderful shape. He's had long Achilles problems. Let's see how long he can stay with this pace. Well, we can go back to this men's long jump with a lap and a half or so in the tank. Echevarria is still leading with 8.65 in this men's long jump competition. Gale here, 8.03 with his opener, then a no jump. He cleared 8.16 with his third round effort. And Gale coming down there at 8.20 in round 4 into a very slight headwind. Ooh, giving away, what, 3 or 4 centimetres there on the board. Good height again from Gale. Conditions cannot be bad out there. Echevarria, by the way, minus 0.5 on that 8.65 jump as his. But Gale there easing into second place past Manyonga by just 1 centimetre with his fourth round effort.
Well, in the men's 5,000 metres, Ryan Gregson just got 10 out of 10. Spot on 2:35 for the first 1,000 metres. He hasn't done this before, but you wouldn't think so, and he's keeping going. He's going to try and get to 5 laps at a similar pace. Ben True, Andy Butchart tucked in there. Cheptegei got up there very early on. There he is in the all-dark strip behind him, Mburu. And kind of new name this year, Stanley Waitaka Mburu. Pochilimo, very close as well. Interestingly, though, Barega and Balu and Bekele and Kejelcha much further back have sat off the pace here, and not even in those top 10 places. Look at them right at the back. Barega is actually last behind Ingebrigtsen, and Gebriwet is just ahead of him, and Kejelcha is just ahead of him. So interesting tactics from the top Ethiopians, but Gregson keeping the pace going at the front.
Julian Wanders there, the European record holder at the half marathon from last February. And Marcus Riffel there, and Thomas Wessinghager with the silver locks watching. Great Swiss and German stars of years gone by, Steve. But I know that Wanders had a chat with him at lunchtime. He said he's hoping to run a personal best and maybe even threaten Marcus Riffel's Swiss record of 13.07. And certainly Stewie McSwain, I think, feels he can go down below 13 minutes. He ran really well in Paris, remember, 3:31 for 1,500 last Saturday. That's useful speed to bring into 5,000.
I think the danger for, Kejelcha, Gebriwet and Barega is Cheptegei, because Cheptegei is reputedly in really, really good shape, and he's going with a pace here, and it's getting stretched out, and Cheptegei at the minute is about 15 metres or more ahead of that group of Ethiopians. So the Ugandan, he probably doesn't know that, because he probably thinks they're all lined up behind him. Chilimo's just moving up behind him, and others are happy to sit in the train. But if Cheptegei were to really go off the front once the pacemaking starts to drop, although it is starting to slow a little bit, and maybe the others have just been a little wiser.
Round 5 for Ruswal Samai then, World Championship bronze medalist, the South African. Oh, and that's better. Now, he opened with 8.04, then an 8.05, hasn't got near 8 metres with his third and fourth round efforts, but that's way beyond 8 metres. It's untidy though, wasn't it? Pretty good on the board, just gives away a tiny bit of ground on takeoff. His last couple of competitions, 8.18 in Luzerne and then 8.11 at the London Diamond League for third place. Gives away 3 centimetres, and he comes down there, Samai, at 8.20. Exactly the same distance as Gale's best, but on countback, Gale stays in second. Samai now in third.
Gregson's job is done. He did slow a little bit, so 2:38 for the second 1,000 metres, but still decent pace. Tiernan, his Australian counterpart, has taken it on. Cheptegei still leading, and the big three at the back of that group there, they moved ahead of Ingebrigtsen because the gaps were appearing. So Gebriwet, Kejelcha and Barega happy to just watch, happy to sit off this. There's Kejelcha, Gebriwet right behind him, Barega behind him. And it's Cheptegei, who of the big names, who's more interested in the pace here. And what's happened here is Tiernan's just picked it up a little notch after Gregson dropped out, doing a good job here. So the pace still right on that 13-minute mark, thereabouts, and there's the gap for the first time. There's a gap between Cheptegei and the rest of the field. It'd be really interesting to see whether it's a long way out, obviously, at this point, but as they come round this time with 6 to go, Tim, just a bit of a gap. Long jump.
Well, round 5 for Gale. He's in second place still, but only on countback. Nowhere near Echevarria, who's way out there with that open of 8.65. No improvement, I think, for Gale there. 8:20 in round 4. Same distance, semi cleared, just a jumpy go. But that from Gale, no. 8:07, no improvement. And Echevarria's jump way out there is beginning to look more and more outstanding in the conditions. It was a minus 0.5 wind. Nobody's had a tailwind. They've all been very slight headwinds. What a special effort that was. Manyonga, 8:19, his opener, remains his best. He's still down in 4th place. Well, here he goes, Manyonga, his 5th round effort. He's been consistent, but just nowhere near the level of Echevarria's opener. And Echevarria, after 4 rounds, by the way, well, he's passed 2. He had a no jump in round 3, and his opener, his only valid jump. Here's Manyonga. Well, his series has been 8:19, then a no jump, then 8:18 and 8:15. So really consistent. But I'm afraid he's, well, best part of half a metre down on the Cuban, Juan Miguel Echevarria. Manyonga, a no jump in round 5. And that does indeed conclude round 5 as Echevarria passes on this effort. Well, has he killed the competition stone dead, Echevarria?
Well, the pacemaker has dropped out. Tiernan got to 3,000 metres in 7:51, another 2:38. Again, just started slow. And Cheptegei, as I suspected, left out in front. Kajelcha, Barega, Gebriwet, a long way back. The chasing pack now, after Chilimo was labouring and continues to labour. Bekele took it on. Now Kajelcha, for the first time, gets interested because he can see with 4 laps to go, there's a 10-metre gap between Cheptegei and the others. Barega follows, Gebriwet follows. What an interesting race here from these 3. Interesting tactics. Now they're starting to wind it up, but they're a good 20-25 metres behind Cheptegei, the world cross-country champion, who's in good form. But is he hanging himself out there to be chased down by the big names? But they've got a bit of work to do.
Well, I love to see this, Steve. I mean, I'm a cross-country man. You go back to my roots, and he's a tough competitor, and I'm kind of hoping they've misjudged it here because he's running really strongly. He's got that lead, and they're all watching each other's here, the big names, the established, more established 5,000-metre runners. But, you know, we mustn't underestimate Cheptegei. Have they underestimated him? He is a 12:59 performer. He ran 13:03 in Lausanne. That's what, 25 metres, maybe a bit more, that gap. Kajelcha doesn't look like the man to lead the chase for me.
No, not Kajelcha, but maybe they're taking turns. Barega picked it up, but they realised Cheptegei's stolen a march. I said it was a danger about 5 laps ago, because if you sit that far back, you can't see what's going on. And he was drawn away by the pacemaker. The gaps appeared, so they've got to work ever so hard. And you're right, one of them's got to sacrifice themselves to get the group back to Cheptegei, because with every 100 metre that passes, he gets closer to the finish, quite obviously. And the gap at the moment, Tim, is not closing. They could close that with a massive last 500-600 metres, but they've got to start pretty soon.
Well, the middle pace of this race was strange. I mean, it was slow. The opening kilometre, 2:35, was spot on. Look at that one, 2:35. So it's gone 2:35, 2:38, 2:37, 2:35. Cheptegei is maintaining that gap at 25 metres. He's able to watch up on the big screen occasionally if he wants, the gap behind him. But he's still running strong, and he's got just over 2 laps to run. And there doesn't seem to be an awareness in the group that they've got a very, very strong runner. And in fact, Steve, he's stretched it by another 6 or 8 metres over the last 200. He's kicking in, he's kicking away.
Kemeli moves past the others because Kajelcha was looking around way too much. The others are faltering now. But that little group there, group of 6 actually. Now Barega moves to the front of it. Gebriwet hasn't had a turn yet. He hasn't even thought about it. But now we're into 650 metres left. And Cheptegei is moving nicely, looks relaxed, looks good. Of course the kick will come, but that's a big gap for them to close. A good 4 seconds, maybe even 5 seconds. Cheptegei continuing, if anything, to go away, and they've got to start moving. Barega finally trying to get things going. Kajelcha still in that group. They've dropped, which one have they dropped? And Buru, he's the only one who dropped off it.
I'm astonished. I mean, Cheptegei is strong and fast. He's run 8:07 for 2 miles this year. He's run 26:49 for 10,000 metres. He goes through now on 11:58. The pack are coming through now, 5 of them on 12:02, 12:03. They're 5 seconds back.
Yeah, 4.5 seconds by my reckoning, and Gebriwet is away. Barega follows, Kajalcha follows, and they will start to reel him in, but do they have time? Can Cheptegei hang on? They're moving quicker than he is. Kajalcha struggling there, but those long legs of his hanging on to Barega and Gebriwet, and they're closing fast. Cheptegei is still going well. It's 15 metres now, maybe 12 metres, and Barega with Gebriwet following. Gritted teeth, Kajalcha's got no chance. Cheptegei hurting. Can he raise his game? The crowd want him to win this. He will deserve it. Gebriwet chasing hard, but Cheptegei's found something else. He goes away again. Cheptegei hanging on for the victory. What a great run. It's going to be under 13 minutes. Cheptegei wins. Gebriwet second, and then a big sprint for Caleb, just getting out-kicked by Kameli for the next place, and Kajalcha completely out of it. Well done, Cheptegei. He deserved it. He committed himself. Silly games being played in the early laps by Kajalcha and Gebriwet and Barega, all looking at each other. Well, while they did that, Cheptegei got on with business, went on and won it in a new personal best. Stefano-san must be saying to Yomif Kajalcha, what were you doing there? What went on? Why did you let such a good runner get away in such a manner?
Wasn't that absolutely brilliant from the Ugandan? A personal best. He grabbed the bull by the horns and wrestled it into submission, that entire field. Stephen, here is the key. He might have been slowing on that final lap compared with the rest of them, but I got his last 1200 at 3:01. 3:01.4. He was not slow through the final laps. They never got back to him. They never really got back within that range where psychologically they felt he was catchable. Very nearly. Maybe another couple hundred metres they'd have got there, but Chep
in such good form, that new personal best. The hard way as well. He ran the last 4 or 5 laps completely on his own. Gebriwet got second. Kameli, Bikili, Barega, Kajalcha all racing for the minor placings. Gebriwet a little bit clear of the rest.
Benjamin in 5. Watch him in the headband. McMaster goes in 6, the Commonwealth champion from the British Virgin Islands. Varholm in 7. TJ Holmes in lane 8. Now, second from the top. Varholm loves to go very fast. He commits early. He's so strong. Holmes hit that first barrier hard. Varholm closing up on him already. Left a picture. Benjamin looking very strong in the headband, nice and smooth. He's long and lean. Little stutter at that barrier from Benjamin was there, halfway down the back straight. As Varholm leads by a couple of strides there. Left of picture. Benjamin beginning to close on him now. Good running between them from Curran McMaster, although he's losing ground now. But Benjamin has the advantage of having Varholm in his sights. The Norwegian is tremendously strong. Benjamin's still looking smooth. You feel he's got more to come. He eases up alongside Varholm. Will this be the first loss of the summer for the Norwegian, who works hard off the final barrier, stays clear, wins by half a metre. 46.92. It's a new meeting record. It's the second fastest time in history by Karsten Warholm. Of course, it's yet another European record for the Norwegian, and he was pushed every step of the way down that home straight by Rai Benjamin. Again and again, this man finds another gear, finds another layer of strength to put the icing on the cake and win these big races. Rai Benjamin, Steve, didn't put a foot wrong, but finished up losing by half a metre in 46.98, by far the fastest losing time in history.
Never have two men run under 47 seconds in the same race, because hardly anyone has ever run under 47 seconds. What a performance from Varholm. And you said he came off the last barrier, Tim. He actually attacked the last barrier and took the momentum into it, over it, and onto the line. That's what was startling, because as they came to that 10th flight, Benjamin was only half a metre behind, and he opened up another metre, well, maybe turned it into a metre, and Benjamin came back again, but not enough. I love this guy. I really do love this guy. Benjamin is good. He's very, very good. But what guts Varholm has. Stick me in lane 7. Come and chase me. I'll be in the lead in the home straight. I'll see you there. See what you can do. Well, here he comes. 2 to go. Here comes Benjamin with the momentum. And now watch this. Last flight. I'm off again. Tax it. Off it well. Benjamin keeps coming, but he's got enough. Head back. Arms flailing. Throws his right arm out to get his shoulder ahead. Didn't need to. He had the win. And he's got a sub-47 clocking. We talk about letters after our name, don't we, in life? If you look on the computer now, Tim, there are more letters after his name. A PB, a DLR, an AR, an MR, and a WL. You can explain them all.
There's almost not room. Personal best, Diamond League record, area record, that means continental record, European record, meeting record, and world lead. Well, there's no surprise there. And I'll tell you what really emphasised for me in that replay, Steve, just now you were talking over how well these two ran, was as they came to the line, nobody else was in shot. The gap behind them was monstrous. I mean, third place, Karen McMaster, brilliant run for the Commonwealth champion, 48.58, but he's in a different race altogether. Karsten Varholm, 46.92, gets better and better. 4 weeks till those World Championships in Doha. Can he hold that form? Because if he can, he's going to retain that world title, and he is in utter shock there. He is such good news for the sport. He's full of charisma. He's always smiling. He and his coach like father and son. Wonderful shared sense of humour. He ticks every single box. He's a marketing man's dream, and that is the shot that will perhaps represent the best performance of the season, maybe up to and after Doha.
Well, no way we'll be so proud of him. An area record, 46.92, 46.98. You know, it's startling. If you said to Benjamin, you know what, you can run 46.98 tonight. Good, he didn't see, would he have taken that? Sadly, he got beat for him. For Germany 3, Italy 2, Finland 1. Good clean start. China started well in lane 7. Really good lead-off leg for them. Jamaica maybe just trying to chase down. Good changeover, everything pretty safe. And Elaine Thompson's got the baton now, and Daphne Skippers as well, charging down the back straight. There's the two of them. China out in the lead though, out in lane 7 to be shot at. Switzerland, a bit of a struggle for them, but Kambunji trying to bring them back into it, but it's the Netherlands going well now, and the Netherlands perhaps with a slight lead, and China right there, and Germany coming back into it. Look at Kemper going away for them. This is a cracking finish. Who's going to get there in the end? It's the German team, 42.21. Well, thank you very much. That is quick. That is very, very quick. Now, one or two look behind and say what happened. The Netherlands were right in it. I said that she's new on the last leg for them, but that is the quickest in the world this year. This is a good German team, a new German team, but plenty of experience. Looking Kemper herself's been coming back from injury, but goodness me, she ran brilliantly on the last leg. So 42.22, Netherlands, another strong run from them. They now have thrown themselves in the mix as well. That was nowhere near a top Jamaican team, and the Swiss, I don't think, performed as well as they might have wanted to, given in front of a home crowd. But well done, Germany.
But it's one of the wonders of the sprint relay, Steve, isn't it? The changeovers can make such a huge difference. An 8 out of 10 changeover can lose you half a metre over a 10 out of 10 changeover. And as we can see there, half a metre, and of course considerably less, can be the winning margin. That's a brilliant time from Germany. It's 1/100 slower than the fastest time in the world this year. So Kwae, Kwadwo, Pinto and Luckenkemper deserve all the credit that they're going to get through tonight as the athletes head back to the hotel just a few hundred metres down the street for their evening meal, their hard-earned evening meal. But the Netherlands so close up behind them. China, Switzerland, Jamaica, as you say, also under 43 seconds, although nothing like a Jamaican A squad.
Kambunji brought Switzerland back into it around the top bend, but good baton changing. You know, China were going pretty well. I think their last change wasn't such a good one. They still finished in third place, 42.6, just outside their season's best. But yes, noteworthy performance from Germany.
Well, the performance